What's up, everybody? It's me. It's PLD.
And I'm Jarvi.
And I'm Matty, and this is Class Action.
The most horrid movie show on the interwebs.
Horrid?
Horrid.
That should be horrifying, maybe. Horrid sounds like we're bad.
No, but we're horrid.
We're horrid. We are horrid. Okay. Actually, it's pretty funny because we just got that intro pretty well down. I listened to our first episode of the new incarnation, Katie versus Cruz, because I just put it up on Spotify.
Oh, well, we completely balls out.
And we were awful at it. Jarvi was calling us out on it and stuff, and he wasn't even there. He said it was my fault, and I realized I looked back, Jarvi, it was your fault. Because I said my line. I said, it's me, it's PLD. And I went, this, and you went, and I went, and you are? And you said something about missing my line or something. And I was like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. You must be mistaken. Jarvi was horrid.
You must be mistaken.
You would go back and watch it because it's going to be. We're going to bring. You go back to our channel. You can watch it again to see. We'd actually bring it up right now if you wanted to.
No,
I won't. But go to Spotify. We'll find. Jarvi knows better. That's true. Okay, fine.
I'm no PJ. You know, I can handle my introductions.
Wow! Oh, and it begins. One of these days, we're gonna have to have Jarvi and PJ on.
Nope, not gonna be on with him.
Right, the two of them in our little back pre-production Facebook group chat. The two of them have just been like, I literally, seriously, I want to grab both your heads and smash them together. I'm tired of the insults. I'm tired of the arguing. I'm tired of the bickering. The pair of you just need to knock it on the fucking head already.
There's no insults. When he starts treating James Cameron with respect, we're good. We're good.
I think we need to get in the ring. That's what I think we need to do.
Yeah.
Class action, PJ versus RJ.
RJ, I like it. I'll do that. I like that. Oh God! All right. Well, how are you guys doing today? What was your week like?
Mine's good. Just getting ready to go to Vegas for the weekend and let loose, and probably come back half dead. But
half dead. That seems for all your trips, though, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
You got to make the most of it, though. So.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, my friend Richard? How are you this week? I know you were very busy.
It's been a crazy week. Yeah, there's a lot of happening work-wise, but it's like good busy. It's good busy. It does get overwhelming at times. I almost didn't make the show today. I'm super glad I did, because we are definitely talking about two of the greats of today's horror movies.
Almost didn't make it. I wonder if PJ had anything to do with that.
Maybe
Sorry? Maybe PJ was involved in you're not be able to make it today. Was he trying to sabotage you potentially? Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised,
Well, I had a very interesting week. I'm going to say it now. I had a colonoscopy.
I love this. Fun. I love this only for the reason that anytime I go to somewhere in Europe, be it somewhere like Helsinki or Italy or like anywhere like more Eastern Europe, I always feel like Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards, where I'm like, buongiorno or orlami.
Nice. Welcome, Christo. Welcome, Refism. As always, the chat. I had an interesting experience. I'll say it on air because I have no shame. I had a colonoscopy on a Tuesday, was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. And I woke up at the end of it before it was done, and it was quite the experience. I was not ready for that. She did not buy me dinner. It was not a lot of fun. But I'm back. I'm okay. I'm ready to go. Let's move on to talk about my horrifying experience, to talk about these horrifying directors of horrifying things, rather. James Wan versus Mike Flanagan. I'm interested to see if people like this. We haven't done a director versus director I haven't done anything besides a movie versus movie really in a while.
Have we ever done director versus director though?
Not in this incarnation.
But ever. I'm not sure we have.
Yes, we definitely did. So at one point,
we've done actors.
We did Nolan versus Villeneuve.
We did.
And I believe we might have done. I think we actually might have done Cameron versus somebody at one point. I'm not sure though. I have to look back at the playlist for that one, but definitely I know for a fact we did Nolan versus Villeneuve, so that's definitely.
Yeah, I remember that one. But this one, we're gearing up for Halloween, and
Yes.
I'm pretty excited for this one. I know I'm a little out of my depth because horror is usually not my thing, and I haven't seen all the filmographies of both of these directors, but still, I'm loving both of them so much at the moment. They're doing great stuff. So
these are two of them, probably the most accomplished horror directors going right now with a long-term record at this point. A couple, I mean, horror has really exploded this year. We've had a lot of cool new horror films come out, a lot of cool new directors coming out. It's a lot of the young talent or whatever. But these guys are the ones who've been around for a little bit. James Wan even more than Flanagan. Flanagan's really made his name mostly the past like 5 or 6 years, give or take. Wan's been around for a while. But if these are the two really first names of horror that I think of when I come to like more recent horror films. If somebody's coming out with a horror film and it's one of these guys, I know I'm probably going to like it, or at least be engaged in it at the very least. But what better way to do than put them up against each other in a battle to the death, as we do on Class Action? Jarvi is like,
you said Clash Action.
Clash Action. I mean,
we could call it Clash Action.
We could.
Why the fuck didn't we call it Clash Action? It's hard to say though. Clash Action.
Clash Action.
Clash Action. Clash Action. Clash Action. Clash Action.
Clash Action. Clash Action.
This is great content.
Clash Action.
Matty Guna on Clash Action.
God, this is gonna be one of those kind of shows. Okay. Well, it's kind of funny you did bring it up. I wanted to call it out on air that like. We started this on the Action Industries channel, which is why Action was involved. That's why we actually used the name Action at first. And Class Action, this sounded kind of cool. We started thinking this lawyer thing, this whole thing. But I never actually talk about that during the description. I always talk about a battle to the death. So I don't know what's going on here, what we are, who we are. But basically, we take two items, actors, directors, franchises, movies, whatever, put them up against each other with 5 custom or 6 if I want. If I want to name something.
Depending on if POD has a horse in the race.
Custom made categories. See who is the greater, who is the champion, who wins the battle to the death, or I should have said a long time ago, who wins the case, who gets judged victorious. Maybe that's a better way to say it, but I'm not going to stop now.
we used to have a game actually called the Public Defender, which really tied into the whole Class Action punditry.
It did.
And if you guys are into, I kind of have a off the cuff for you. Ooh. It's not a top 3 list, but it's like a surprise little game. I'm sure you both could handle. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. We could do it.
Let's do a Public Defender. So everyone who wants to know what the Public Defender is, why are we calling it the Public Defender? Now I haven't done this in fucking years.
I've missed this bit.
Public defenders in movies. There are lawyers who are usually beat down, worn down. They are underpaid, overworked, and they sometimes have to come to work to trial unprepared. So they don't know what's going to happen. Everything gets thrown at them. They're going to have to come up with stuff on the spot, off the cuff. So that's exactly what we're going to do to each other right now. We're going to be the public defenders of Class Action.
Alrighty, I'm good at being cheap. So
because this is my first public defender where I'm not giving the.
That's right. Matty was giving us
both times I've given public defenders. I don't think I've ever done one.
Before we do that, I just want to throw out there, Christo saying that it's James Wan next topic. Well, bingo, he's pretty strong.
He's a big Wan fan.
Fair enough. Yeah. And his first Flanagan film was Dr. Sleep, and that was a good
that's a great
choice.
Intro.
Especially if you watch the director's cut, by the way.
I watched that for the first time for preparing for this.
Oh, director's cut is so fucking good. So good. All right, Jarvi, hit us with your public defender. What are we talking
All
about?
right, so you can pick one from each or just one from. So let's just pick one of these directors and give your ideal franchise or movie for them to take over.
Ooh. That's definitely a deep one.
So I'm gonna even throw in a curveball. Matty gets James Wan and PLD gets Mike Flanagan.
Okay. Mike Flanagan, I get to take over any franchise I want.
James Wan.
Give the keys to the kingdom.
You know what? James Wan doing Star Trek.
Oh,
Oh, outside the horror realm already. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool because you have like the deep mystery and like horror of space.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Justin Lin, so they were you're kind of going like the Fast and the Furious route because Justin Lin did a few of the movies, then James Wan came in, then Justin Lin took over again. The Star Trek Beyond was directed by Justin Lin, right?
I didn't know that. So yeah, I guess that's the route I'm taking. But like, if you did like, it's something I'm going to bring up. James Wan does like a really good job of making you feel uncomfortable in the places you feel the most comfortable.
Oh yes,
yes, he does.
Imagine like James Wan doing a horror movie on the Enterprise or whatever the ship's called.
Oh, yes, Enterprise. That could be very cool. I like how you're good with that. Crystal's saying James Wan doing Toy Story.
I bet he would be awesome for that.
I bet he would be too.
I bet he would do a great Toy Story.
That would be sick.
Okay. So I'm going to go with, for Mike Flanagan, I'm going to stick in the horror realm because actually, honestly, James Wan has dipped out of the horror realm a few times, obviously, with Aquaman and the Fast and Furious. Mike Flanagan has not stepped out of the horror realm yet, really. So I'll keep him in my horror realm since we're especially this spooky season anyway. I'm gonna have him take over one of my favorite horror franchises. It's been ripe for kind of a redoing anyway. In Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, well, that is kind of perfect because all of his stuff is centered in dreams and storytelling,
like psychological stuff like that as well.
Oh wow.
Yes. I think Mike Flanagan could put in like just enough of a new spin to make it modern, but I think he'd really dive deep into that subconscious about that.
That's a great one.
The only problem to have is finding a new Freddy. That's the only problem. Like the big three we have: Friday the 13th, Halloween, and
Ed Harris.
Well, there you go. Ed Harris can play Freddy Krueger.
Have we ever seen Ed Harris and Robert Englund in the same room together?
No, we haven't. I don't think so. No, possibly, quite possibly. You're right.
So, do you know what actually sparked this public defender was? I just came up with. I was working out, and I was thinking about a franchise that could really use a great movie or a great reboot or something. And I was thinking James Wan for Resident Evil.
Oh,
it's got action and horror, and he would just fucking light the spark that franchise needs to be.
I like that. I do like that
language, brother.
I do like that. That'd be fucking sweet, man. Oh, that would be sweet as hell. So, all right, great, good job. Maybe
we shouldn't get any worse.
That's
exactly. It's a low bar to.
If you guys have seen the show. Yikes.
On Netflix? Yeah, I really wanted it to be great.
Yikes.
Well, all right. Well, that is that. Thank you, Jarvi, for that. Maybe we have to bring that back every once in a while, and maybe we should bring that back more regularly and bring on some guests to do some things like we used to do. See what the people in the chat want. Maybe they'll have their own ideas. Okay, let's move on, though. Before we get to the meat of the story, we do have another game we play on a weekly basis. It is the game that Jarvi loves most. And I don't know if you prepared this week or not. So did you prepare?
I kind of did. That's why this sucks.
Oh, this is going to suck.
I've gone the Jarvi route. I'm just going to fucking wing it.
Nice. The game is, what would Ed Harris play? Ed Harris being one of the greatest actors of all time. A real guy who has certain gravitas. You can put him into any film, and he automatically makes
one of the bald men,
one of the sexiest bald men alive. Absolutely. Before I do that, Reefism, that's a good choice too. Flanagan on Ghost Rider would be kind of cool. That could be very cool. Yeah. I could see that work very well,
especially with what he did with Midnight Mass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fucking good stuff. But anyway, what would Ed Harris play in this kind of situation? We have a little more freedom because it's not just one movie we're talking about. We're going to let us, the three of us, put Ed Harris into any movie that these directors have done. So we have a little more of a breathing room here at this point, or in this case, in Flanagan's case, especially, you could put it in one of the TV shows if you wanted to. But let's go first with James Wan, and I will take the lead on this because mine might be boring, but I think I really, really, truly want to say it. I think
one of you is going to have the same as me, though.
So do it.
I don't know. You're saying don't do it, so I think you have. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I have been on record as saying I am not the biggest Patrick Wilson fan. I think he's fine. I think he's good. I think he's not.
We've talked about
bad at
this.
We're
Yeah.
talking about his work. He's fine. He's good. So I have no qualms about putting him, Ed Harris, in the Conjuring series instead of Patrick Wilson.
That's one of the reason that I have a problem with this is that's one of the few franchises, few movies where I feel like Patrick Wilson's really great at.
It is his best work, probably. It is his best work, no doubt. But because I'm okay without him, putting Ed Harris in that, I could deal with that. I could go with that. So give him a series. First of all, giving him a horror series, getting him to work with Farmiga there, Vera Farmiga, which I love. I love her as well. I think those two together could put some sparks on that screen for the Conjuring franchise. But that's just me. I like that though.
It's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought.
All right, Jarvi, what about you?
All right. For James Wan, Ed Harris as the monk.
The monk.
The monk. We have the nun, the monk.
So we're creating a new entry in the series.
Yes.
Okay, and Ed Harris.
In the Conjuring verse.
Paul Bettany monk kind of thing, like when Paul Bettany from like Angels.
You could put a cross up here, yeah make
I
him,
like that.
But I want him more like Freddy Krueger-y, all fucked up, all like he's the villain, he's the main baddie.
All right,
I mean, isn't there already a movie called The Priest? So you kind of have to call it the monk, right?
I think just priest, I think, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, we could say monk
priest
too. I like that. Okay, sweet. All right, Matty, how about yourself?
Well, Christo just damn well took mine.
Really?
So I'm gonna think up another one on the spot here.
Would he be riding the bicycle though?
Yeah.
How about Dreyfus's pick? Ed Harris is Danny Glover's character in Saw. That's actually not a bad call. That's not a bad call at all.
I think I would have. I'm gonna go outside horror here.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him replace Willem Dafoe in Aquaman.
This hurts.
Because I do not want the record of Willem Dafoe tarred by that piece of shit movie.
Whoa.
Where is PJ when I need him?
You're now tarring
PJ, now I need you.
You can't tar Ed Harris's record. That's the thing.
Oh, he's untarable.
Yeah, his record is too long.
Fair
and
enough.
like you look at Willem Dafoe's record, and it's just too pristine. Like you can't don't sully that record with fucking Aquaman.
All right.
And now let me be clear before the fucking DC bum liquor club show up. Fucking Momoa was great in Aquaman. Willem Dafoe is great in Aquaman. I just don't like the movie. I like the performances. I just don't like the movie.
That's fair. I'm fine with the movie. I don't mind the movie at all. I think it's a fun romp, but I understand why people wouldn't like it. So I'll leave you that for now.
So DC nut huggers, stay off my back.
You could have switched out Patrick Wilson again with Ed Harris though.
You could. That's not when you could have taken Patrick Wilson.
Oh, is Patrick Wilson really like James Wan's guy?
Yeah. He's not Insidious.
He's in Conjuring, Aquaman. Was he in Malignant? No, he wasn't in Malignant, right?
I don't believe so. I don't remember. I could be wrong though. I don't believe so. But he's not in the Saw. He started with Insidious, I believe.
But I could definitely see Ed Harris as a mentor type. I think that would be a cool role for him in a DC movie.
I do like that. Crystal's got a great one too. Interesting. Elsie Rayner from Insidious, the Insidious series.
Which one was her?
She's the psychic. She was in all four of them. The psychic, old Lynn Shay, who came in like.
Okay.
So having the male version of that would be kind of cool too.
I like Reefism's one that he just put in the chat as well.
Oof. Well, we haven't gotten to there.
Yeah.
I've got a Flanagan yet, but that is a good choice as well.
That's a good one. I may steal that. I'm not.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do Flanagan. What we would do for Flanagan. Actually, that is a great one. I actually thought about that one. I'll start with this one as well. I did a more of a minor role. but I could have put him in one of the series. I thought about that because that would have given him a major role. I thought I'll put him in the leading role of Midnight Mass, which would have been
Oh yeah, he would have killed that role.
right. He would have killed that role.
Yeah.
But I wanted to my own personal
Pun intended.
selfishness. Yeah, good pun intended. My own personal selfishness wanted to make sure I can get Ed Harris into Doctor Sleep, one of my favorite movies of the decade. So I'm going to put him. I'm not replacing Ewan McGregor. That would be too old for that.
I thought of that as well, though.
I do that as well.
Think of that.
I'm going to have him replace Cliff Clerk.
Did PLD just freeze?
I think he did.
He froze at the worst moment. I'm going to put him as.
And can you hear me now?
Sure. Yeah, we can hear you now. Go again.
I'm going to put him as.
Yeah, we're not falling for that.
Cliff Curtis as Dan's friend, coworker, and AA sponsor.
Oh, yes.
And being a true partner with him. I think Ed Harris could really. I thought about putting with the group Bruce Greenwood, but that was too easy for me. I didn't want to just because Bruce Greenwood and Ed Harris play a lot of the same type of roles, so I didn't want to just give him that. So I'm going to give him the old Cliff Curtis, Dan's friend, and he works with him a lot and goes on the battle with him and everything else. So I think he's a kind of a cool character to have. All right, yeah. Let's go for you, Jarvi. How about you?
So I'm gonna put him in the series of the Flanagan verse or whatever it's called, and I'm gonna have Ed Harris as the narrator, as the watcher of the Flanagan verse movies. He's gonna be narrating all of them.
Oh, so you connect all the Flanagan-verse movies with him.
With him, but only him.
Like
it's not a connected universe because there's a lot of, the actors sometimes reprise even very similar roles, but they're not quite the same people. It's not a connected universe. But Ed Harris could be the narrator who sort of ties it together in a loose way.
I like that idea. That's kind of cool. Because he could have whatever he could do, everything he wants to do, but any kind of thing. But if you have him connecting them, it still feels like it's one universe, even if they're not crossing over.
Exactly.
I do like that. I do like that.
And me and my friend, we watched The Rock again on the weekend. And, the movie starts off with Ed Harris just narrating the shit out of the beginning of The Rock.
That's true. He's a great narrator. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. All right, Matty, how about yourself?
I'm going to stick him in Midnight Mass. And I can't remember the actor's name. I think it's Quentin something that plays the devil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know
the devil. Was that the alpha vampire, you mean? Or
I think so. Quentin... It starts with a B. I can't remember his name, but I just think Al Pacino played the devil really fucking well.
Right.
And I feel like Ed Harris would be able to do something similar.
Okay.
I know it's in a completely different type of thing, but I just want to see Ed Harris play the devil.
Quentin Boyce-Claire as the angel.
Thank you.
The angel. Okay.
The angel, right? They called him the angel.
Yeah,
right.
He's
I like
essentially Satan.
Well, he would give him looks that would kill, that's for sure. He's got those blue eyes. Always has the best part of Top Gun Maverick, honestly. So, maybe the best part, but one of my favorite parts anyway. All right, I like that. All right, well, who do we think won this week then, boys? What's the best one you want to see out of all the pitches we just gave?
Wait, remind me, Matty, which was yours? Oh, yeah, Willem Dafoe. And you switched out Patrick Wilson.
I feel like PLD staying on brand and replacing Patrick Wilson and everything.
That's true.
I think that gets my vote because he's staying committed to it. So
what was your other one?
I had Wilson and Cliff Curtis.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patrick Wilson one as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I think PLD wins this week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Hello, Kelly W. Good to see you as always. All right, guys, let's move into the meat of the tale, the meat of the show, the trial itself. Here we are. We're judge, jury, and executioner. We got 5 categories for you. 5 custom-made categories this week because I don't have a horse in this race. I love them both so much. We actually didn't do. What we didn't do is we didn't say who we think is going to win or who we want to win. Rather,
let's not do it this week.
Won't do it. Okay, that's fine. Let's
just going raw.
All right, we're going raw. We're going raw, dog.
Pause.
No. I don't hate Patrick Wilson. I want that out
Yeah,
there.
he
hates Patrick
Wilson.
Take
He
the
hates
heat off
Patrick
of
Wilson.
me. Take
See,
the
no
heat
Patrick
off of
Wilson.
me.
I can't hate somebody who goes out and does Freddie Mercury impressions on the side. So I can't really hate him.
Patrick Wilson does Freddie
Yeah,
Mercury
you hate him.
impressions.
Yes,
hate
he
him.
does. I don't know.
POD, I need you to hate him and take the heat off of me on this episode because people are going to hear what I said about Aquaman and they're going to be pissed.
I don't think so, my friend. Let me see something real quick. I'll show you something really funny. Let me see. I'm going to share this video with you
I
guys.
feel like Jarvi already hates me for it.
Sorry, for what?
For what I said about
Aquaman.
For what I said about Aquaman.
Oh,
Look at this.
I think it's I totally get why people dislike the movie. I happen to love it. Oh, is that Patrick Wilson?
Fucking way.
That is Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, he's got the mannerisms like down.
Yeah, and the voice as well.
Yeah, he's got a good voice.
If that is him singing.
It really is him, yeah.
Man, dude.
It's pretty
Yeah,
ripped as well.
dude.
Yeah? I
I
can't
have-
hate that guy. Come on. I just want to see him do more Freddie Mercury roles, that's all. At least concerts, I should say. All right, we got the trial here. We got 1, we got better storyteller. 2, better at horror. 3, better, more versatile. 4, more ambitious. And 5, who had the highest of the high, the best of the best.
The better movie.
The better, best
Right?
movie. That's what
Yeah.
we're doing. Horrifying.
That was horrifying. Why was that horrifying?
It's a little scary. I guess if you got ready for it, you got ready for it. But
If you like just joined the episode thinking we're talking about James Wan and Mike Flanagan and we're fucking watching Patrick Wilson dancing around impersonating Freddie Mercury, yeah, that can be a bit what the fuck.
So here go the views that we've been building up towards.
a little off. That's okay. All right. All right, guys. Let's move into the number 1 category there. Better storyteller. Who wants to take the jump and hit home here?
I can start this one if you want to.
You can start this one.
So I'm gonna say off the top that this category is going to Mike Flanagan. He hits you with those existential ideas in his movies, his series, more so in his series lately. And also there's storytelling in storytelling in storytelling. Like he's going in like 3 layers at least in his series. Like if you think about Midnight Club, they're all telling stories. And there is a flashback in the said story, which is telling a story. That is like absolutely crazy. It shouldn't work. It should be too much, but it still does work. He manages to keep it all sane, keep it all structured. And also his storytelling feels very much like a fairy tale told in sort of a gothic horror way, kind of. And you even sometimes forget that you're watching horror. That's how great of a storyteller he is. And I do want to give James Wan his props. Like I think his storytelling is definitely rooted more in the horror aspects of the story. And you know you're watching a horror movie when you're watching a James Wan movie. He crafts a very relatable story and really pulls you in with a great backstory for the characters. But if we're going off of who's the better storyteller, I feel like I want to say James Flanagan. Mike Flanagan has him beat in it's a strong win for Flanagan because he's just so fucking good at it.
All right, interesting call. I want to say, Hallen, spinning in the chat. Always good to see you, my friend. I think James Wan is winning this one. I think it's the overall. I mean, love Flanagan though, but he's a little light with the horror. Okay,
exactly what I said. Yeah.
All right. I'll take Brady storyteller because I'm going to jump right off that. And I say I agree with you. I agree with you, Richard. I don't know if it might be the fact that recently TV has kind of made a mark in terms of storytelling. It's become much more of the storytelling medium compared to movies in some ways. I'm a big movie fan, obviously, don't get me wrong. I love cinema. I love going to big screen theaters, but TV is kind of where the storytelling aspect has kind of grown more. And Flanagan is an ace at that. He's been really good at that. I do think he is one that wants to see his storytelling through. you notice James Wan will start something and then like kind of let it go to other people, and that's not necessarily a knock. As he wants to do other things and everything else. And I actually like the fact that he lets other people play in his sandboxes, so to speak. But I think overall, the storyteller Flanagan has much more of a set A to B to C to D way of telling a story that has more of a completion to it, instead of the open-ended aspect of Wan. I think Wan is maybe more flash, whereas Flanagan is more substance to a degree, overall. And
Yeah,
it's not just
that's a good point.
so I'm going to go with Flanagan as well.
Flanagan definitely takes his time, like with his storytelling. He like really lets it cook.
Right, it's a slow burn. Wan is a little more flashy about it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing either, because Flash is very exciting and it's a different kind of storytelling.
The Flash movie is coming out soon. Ezra Miller.
Yeah, we just got canceled. Okay, and Matty, how about you? What do you think?
I think I'm actually going to go the opposite way.
Okay, interesting.
I think Mike Flanagan is and go with me on this. I think he's a better technical director than James Wan. I think he has a better eye for cinema than James Wan does. He knows how to create a beautiful story and like present it in a beautiful way visually. Whereas I think James Wan can take himself out of the story and be like, how will the audience react to this? I mean, someone very close to me, her favorite movies are anything to do with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Like, they're her absolute favorite fucking movies because she can relate to those characters. And I feel like that, for me, if you're working in something within horror, and a lot of the tropes in horror are done so many times over, how can you make it more relatable to the person watching it and have them invest in the story more? I feel like I would have to give that more to James Wan than Mike Flanagan.
Okay. I get that. I think The Conjuring is a really good like example for an explanation, because The Conjuring, the first one, is a really basic story about a demon haunting a family in a house, and he makes it feel so fresh, so new, so damn scary. But he's telling kind of a worn out trope, but he does it so well.
What's interesting is I'm interested in, like, you both just said really interesting things to me as far as this discussion goes. First of all, Matty said, I started like, at first I was like hesitant and started to push back because you kind of talk about directing stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, but does that make it a very storyteller?
Right.
But then he brought it home. Then he brought it home with how he uses visuals for his storytelling. And I appreciated that. I get where you're coming from that. Same time, Matty, it's funny you say, or Richard, it's funny you say, talk about The Conjuring, because I feel like The Conjuring is the most Flanagan of Wan's films, to be honest with you, because that's what Flanagan does so well. Almost all of his tales are basically, a lot of his tales are kind of more generic horror stories, except for like maybe Dr. Sleep here and there. They're very tried and true tropes overall, but he does make them seem so new and fresh, the way he tells that story as well. But you're not wrong. Wan has done as well. So, but I'm not turning over my leaf. I'm still sticking with Flanagan. But I definitely like Matty. Your argument definitely has made me stop and think about it. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Same here. I was like, okay, Matty's going with Wan because he's more, maybe I'm Wan fan, but your like explanation for it actually hit pretty damn good.
All right. Let's move on to better horror.
Can I start with this one?
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I feel like, as I said, when talking about when we did our Public Defender, I think James Wan is the king of making you feel unsafe in your own home. And that is the single biggest fear that anyone could ever have, is like feeling unsafe in the place where you're supposed to feel the most comfortable. And I could probably give me like another 24 hours. I could probably make the case that Wan style had a massive influence on Flanagan's style. I think that there's certain parts of, especially like the use of like build up and suspense and that slow burn style that I think Flanagan took from James Wan and just elongated it out. I love James Wan's use of suspense, his use of sound, especially sound, because like
Oh yes, the sound.
Sound is like when there's no sound, you can't fucking hear anything. And stuff's just building and building. You're like, God, what's gonna happen? What the fuck's gonna happen? Especially if it's in like your own fucking room. Like imagine you're at home and it's the middle of the night and it's dead quiet. You hear just a noise. You're immediately like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like it's just a complete natural reaction. I think Flanagan does really well at exploiting people's personal traumas. I think. I think that's more his style of comedy. Comedy. What the fuck am I talking about?
Only for you, Matty.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I find people's emotional traumas funny.
It's hilarious.
But like,
you sound Estonian.
I feel like also every shot that James Wan uses kind of complements the scare. Like every jump shot, like every shot complements the jump scare. And I feel like James Wan, it's close, but I feel like I got to give it to James Wan. Because, like, that fucking hide and clap scene.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it was in the trailer as well. It's still
I hate that fucking scene, dude. That scene scares the shit out of me. Exorcisms and stuff, I can deal with that. I've seen The Exorcist 101 fucking times. That hide and clap scene, hell no.
And you said it's about sound. And I was watching Halloween Ends, and I was thinking, what would I do to make that movie better? And I think it was the sound mixing that got me like, I would have made that a bit different. I would have made those kills feel more like brutal with sound. I think sound is probably even more important than the the visual aspect if you're talking about a horror movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going with James Wan on this one?
Right? I am going with James Wan. Yeah.
I think that Flanagan manages to find enjoyable ways to scare me. And he doesn't do it too often either. He builds up the scare with like lots of story points. And sometimes he doesn't even scare you. He just tells a story with suspense, but I'm always looking forward to his scares. Like I enjoy his scares, which is a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
James Wan manages to shake the very foundations of my being.
Yeah.
Like he finds like the deepest core horrors and he rattles that tree with all his might. Like he makes daylight fucking scary in Conjuring and Conjuring 2.
I mean, Krista said it in the chat. Like, Wan definitely works with psychologists to make the videos.
For sure.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he does like full-on psychological deep dives before he writes his movies.
I'm sure he does. I'm pretty sure he does. And he it's the disturbing psychological eerie factor on top of like his amazing jump scares, which he uses in a very effective way. So as much as I enjoy Flanagan scares, James Wan just he rocks my world with his scares. It's a no contest for Wan for this one.
Okay, guys, really quick. I hate to do this. I had a little bit of a family emergency I had to take care of. I'm going to leave you guys in the great hands of Richard Jarvi and Matty Gunner. Nothing big. Everything's fine. I just have to take care of something right at the moment. Unfortunately, these things sometimes happen in real life. I will leave you real quickly. I will leave you with my choices, and you can kind of score them up since then. My choices.
Don't say them. Just leave them in the chat.
In the chat. Okay, I'll leave them in the private chat. And I will leave. So take care, guys. Have a great rest of the show. I'm very interested to see who wins. Let me know who wins. All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Take care, buddy.
I hope it's good.
Yeah.
Look, I'm PLD now.
How the hell do we
PLD leaves and all goes to hell. There we go.
Right, there we go. You got it. How did you do that?
Sorry?
You have the power to do that?
No, I didn't do that. That was PLD. That was PLD behind the scenes.
Okay. He's still working behind the scenes. All right. Cool. So
that was better horror. We both went with James Wan. I'm going to pull up a doc real quick. So I'm going to take notes because PLD is usually the note taker. Okay. So moving on to the third category, which director is more versatile?
I feel like for me, this is a fairly open and shut case.
Really? That's
Yeah,
a tough one for me. Go ahead.
Because which one of them, as I said, I feel like Flanagan's the better technically director, but he hasn't strayed outside of the horror genre.
It's true.
So by definition of who's the more versatile director, James Wan's dipped his toes in other waters. He's gone to action. He's done the DC big blockbuster super movie. Now, could Mike Flanagan do it? I have no doubt he could do it, but he hasn't yet. So by virtue of that, I kind of have to give it to James Wan. Now, if we're saying who's the better horror director, who's the better, more versatile director in horror, like specifically horror, I gotta give it to Flanagan, because I feel like, as I've said multiple times now, I think he's technically a better, like, from the whole like technical aspect of being a director, crafting shots, like make it how they look visually. Mike Flanagan gets it, but I've seen proof that James Wan can do other things. I haven't seen it from Mike Flanagan yet, so I feel like I have to give it to James Wan.
I think you said like exactly my like thought process for this one is that like James Wan on paper has, he's done Fast and Furious, he's done Aquaman, he's done a few stuff I think more outside the horror genre, but I think Mike Flanagan, like you said it yourself, he has done only horror, but he's done so much in that horror. So his versatility actually comes from all the stories that he's telling, and I feel that's exactly what he's doing with his Netflix stuff at the moment.
Yeah,
he's showing range, but in his own universe, like, because all of his series have sort of wrestled with different ideas, different like characters. Sure, they're all like kind of telling horror stories in that kind of genre, but they invoke so many like primal feelings, like deep thoughts, that he always, like, I think Midnight Mass is actually one of his more interesting series, and I'll go into it more with his more ambitious category. But he does something so, like, he takes like the shots with his range inside his own little world, which is like a weird thing. How do you compare them? One is more versatile altogether. The other one is more versatile in his own little like world.
And I feel like if Mike Flanagan chose to go and do something else outside of horror, I feel like he'd be just as good as a director outside of horror than he is. And if he'd have done that, I would have given this hands down to Mike Flanagan, but he hasn't done it. So I can't, the evidence isn't there for me to.
This is actually one of the categories that I was undecided on. And I wrote down the exact same thing. Mike Flanagan hasn't done enough at the moment, so gotta go with Wan as well. I'm going with James Wan on this one as well.
It's a natural transition for horror directors to venture out to fantasy films.
Well, Flanagan is pretty much doing fantasy stuff.
Yeah,
his stories definitely have a more fantastical feel to them.
For sure.
All right, so next up, the fourth category: who is more ambitious?
I mean, you can say this one because you already started, alluding to the point.
So this one I kind of went into this category with my previous argument. It feels like this category should go to James Wan, because I feel like he does take more swings and aim for different genres. His latest horror movie, Malignant, while maybe like not the smash hit people were expecting it to be.
I haven't seen Malignant yet.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's very ambitious. It's not his greatest work, but he does take a big swing in it, and it's like it goes in unexpected directions. That movie, it was more campy and more absurd than you might have think of from James Wan.
Yeah,
but it's definitely ambitious. Now, Flanagan seems to be following a certain path with his style, with his series and his movies. He even uses the same cast throughout his projects, which is great. I freaking love the way that he uses like it feels like he's making movies with his friends, kind of like Adam Sandler and his like group. They just get together and have fun and make movies. Just Mike Flanagan,
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Flanagan is horror as Adam Sandler, and I think the Flanagan verse is very enjoyable, and I wouldn't really care if he continues doing only the stuff that he's doing on Netflix. But then there's Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep was a huge undertaking that, should scare away any director in their right mind. You're making a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
The most iconic horror movie of all time.
Yeah, that takes some balls.
And he fucking knocked it out of the park. So
a lot of people I've spoken to about Dr. Sleep don't like it. I'm not sure why. Like, none of them can really give me a valid reason why they don't like it. One person even said, "I just don't like Ewan McGregor," and I was just like, I'm just gonna slap you for that. But
I don't know. Dr. Sleep is amazing, and like, I'd say Mike Flanagan like deserves the category for Dr. Sleep, but I think I still gotta go with James Wan. I think he does take more swings and he is more ambitious. So yeah, even though the Dr. Sleep argument is right there, I think that James Wan has done more ambitious things. I think Malignant, not his favorite stuff, but still a very bold move. So I'm going to go with James Wan on this one.
Okay. I'm going to give you a counter argument, and I'm going to go for Flanagan.
Okay.
I think using people's personal fears and people's personal traumas, as well as Mike Flanagan does, is a massive swing to take, because someone could watch, like, I'm not a religious person, so like stuff like Midnight Mass doesn't really affect me. But if there's someone that watches Midnight Mass and has like suffered abuse in that environment, that could potentially fuck his career. So I feel like going so deep on like personal traumas and stuff, whereas like for me, like something like that wouldn't faze me. I'd get the jump scares and I'd get all the scares and stuff from it, but it wouldn't like deeply affect me. But someone might watch something like that and it would hit them in a way that they'd be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do this. So I feel like specifically targeting someone's fears and their traumas is a massive gamble to take. I don't know if I'm thinking.
No, you're making a lot of sense. You're making a lot of sense. You're actually swaying me a little bit, but I'm staying strong.
You know what I mean? Like if he presses too hard on a certain thing, it could, because I think it has he knocks it out of the park every time. But that's for me, someone who like a lot of that stuff doesn't faze me. A lot, like someone could watch something like Midnight Mass and just be like, yeah, no, I'm not watching this. Who did this? Mike Flanagan? Yeah, no, I'm never watching anything from him ever again. So I feel like it's a massive gamble for him to take with his style, but I think he does pull it off really well. So that's like the ambition to go to these like really deep, disturbing places in like people's personal lives, I think is a ballsy move to do.
I like that. I like your argument for that one. That's a good one. We're in completely opposite spectrums on this one, but I totally get it. I also love the fact that you're completely dark on that side and I'm in the light here. We're like yin and yang.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going with... I'm going to say what PLD like sent in as we go by the category. So this was the fourth one. So this was... PLD also went with Mike Flanagan for more ambitious. Interesting. He's in your camp in that one. And the previous one, more versatile, he went with James Wan. Yeah. But that leaves us with our final category. And this is a tough one. This is like the best of the best category. Which of these two directors has the better movie of all of them, or show? Because Mike Flanagan is done a lot of great shows that I think The Haunting of Hill House could, rival any movie that either of them has done. But do you want to take this one?
I think I gotta give it. Oh God, because I came in thinking I want to give it to Flanagan, just because we just scared the shit out of me, and Hush as well. Hush, the
Hush is damn good.
concept of Hush, like a deaf woman being stalked by a serial killer. That is
brilliant.
That is fucking terrifying. And especially like in the age we're in now, where like being a woman is possibly the most unsafe fucking thing. Like,
it's a simple premise, and he just uses it so damn well.
But if you explained the concept of it, if you explain that premise to someone that's never seen it before, it's like, oh yeah, a deaf woman's being stalked by a serial killer. People be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know, because when Mike Flanagan hits, he really fucking hits. But I feel like James Wan has been more consistent.
I actually feel the opposite. I think Mike Flanagan is the more consistent one. And James Wan, he takes risks.
Yeah, because Annabelle.
There's Aquaman. There's Annabelle stuff. You haven't seen Malignant yet, but it's not his best work.
Yeah, I think I got to give it to Flanagan.
For
higher highs.
Oh, okay. So you went that way. I figured which of these has the better one movie. So that's how I approach the topic. It doesn't have to mean that that's how you have to do it.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I'm gonna go with James Wan.
Just wait. What would you say? The Conjuring.
Conjuring.
The first one.
Yep.
That's what I'm struggling.
To me, if I was going to teach a class on like a horror masterclass,
right,
on how to write a masterclass of horror, I am using the first Conjuring movie as Exhibit A.
I have Dr. Sleep on Flanagan's side, and The Conjuring on James Wan's side. I think PLD said it himself. He's like, it's one of the best movies in his opinion in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Sleep was in the top 3 of that year when it came out. But The Conjuring is on my all-time top 50 movie list.
Wow.
That movie, that is my favorite horror movie ever made. So I'm going with James Wan. Going with James Wan on this one.
So we're both picking Wan.
Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna be a bitch doing the score now because I have not done the entire score just yet. So if you want to keep the folks entertained, I'm gonna do math real quick.
Okay. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 1 is 3. 3 + 1 is 4.
Second.
How about that show Andor, guys? That's something I feel like I can only really talk about comfortably.
This is great TV.
How about that show Andor? It was great. I love it. Episode 7 was amazing. I feel like it's gonna be in my top 5 all-time Star Wars by the time season 1 is done. Have you caught up with it yet?
I can't talk to you right now. I'm doing fucking math here.
People, all right, let's go to the chat. Alan Smithy. I like Dr. Sleep, but felt the ending was the weakest part. Ooh, interesting. Once they go back to the Overlook, I thought the film went downhill. Damn, Smithy. That you are literally the only person I've ever heard say that. Christo, agree. Insidious is one of the best horrors ever. Insidious scares the shit out of me.
Okay, so I'm struggling here.
If I had to pick one horror movie that really scares the out, it's the best moment ever. Yeah. One movie. I watched the original Hills Have Eyes while I was very, very intoxicated once. And actually, no, I think Antichrist might be the one where I'm like, I am never, ever watching that again. How close are you? Because I'm running out of material.
I'm almost done. What did you give the last one to?
James Wan.
Okay. That one goes to Juan. And I gave mine to Juan. Okay. So we have the score. Yeah. Okay.
This is why we need like PJ on the sideline, like just in case.
Ooh. Okay, so altogether we have to have 15 points, right?
Yes.
Because there's 3 of us. Okay. Wow, this is pretty fucking cool.
Is it close?
The score is 8-7.
Fucking hell again?
To Mike Flanagan.
Shut up.
I'm gonna do a recount. I think it's Mike Flanagan.
Because we had an 8-7 last week.
Yeah, James Wan got 7. That leaves Flanagan with 8.
Wow.
That is a close call. That is a freaking close call right there. But I gotta say, I'm pretty happy about it. I know Christo's.
Hi, Christo.
He's freaking angry.
Yeah. We just
He's
lost
not
Christo.
dealing
I feel like every week Christo comes in here, we upset Christo.
Yeah.
So
Recount, too close to call. I actually did count them. But dude, Christo, you gotta go watch more Flanagan stuff. Watch Hush. Watch The Haunting of Hill House.
Hush.
Watch Doctor Sleep, and you'll realize what we're all about. But yeah, this is Halloween season. Watching either of these directors, you're gonna have a damn good time.
I thought we maybe had the potential for a hung jury at one point. I seriously thought we might have to come up with another category on the fly.
So we can't have a hung jury when there's 3 of us.
Yeah, I know. When Paul was going, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like it's gonna come down to the 2 of us.
But he gave his his scores, so I counted those in as well.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Jesus.
So there we go. James Wan got beaten by Mike Flanagan by just a hair.
Split
just
decision.
A hair. And I love it that we did a director versus director. This was a pretty cool change up.
Yeah.
Sad the PLD had to go. Hopefully he'll watch it later. And we can tease what we're gonna do probably next week or the week after that. And I feel like it's gonna be one of our biggest shows, at least to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we
what
talk
just
about...
finished? Let's tease it. You go ahead. You say what we're doing.
You go first, and I'll do the second one.
So we're just 2 of the biggest TV shows just wrapped. Oh, actually, one did wrap. One of them is Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And we're putting that up against
House of the Dragon.
Yes.
It's going to be Rings of Power against House of the Dragon. Am I upset that we're not going to get House of the Dragon season 2 until 2024? Big time.
Is it 2024?
2024, because they start filming it next summer.
Because they said that, Rings of Power is going to take forever to film, 2 years at least. So it's going to be the same time, probably. I'm
okay with that. But, I can't go without seeing Damon no, I can't do it. I love this show, man. I haven't gone back and watched Game of Thrones yet, but I've watched maybe 3 episodes of Game of Thrones.
So you're all fresh on House of the Dragon.
I am newbie when it comes to this. I was talking to Ken Nabzog about it. I was this is my entry point to this universe.
It's a great entry point. It's really a great entry point.
It's so good. It's so good.
So if you wanna know which show is the better one, House of the Dragon or Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, tune in maybe next week, maybe the week after that, because we really gotta hash out these categories for that matchup.
Yeah. Hey, Christo, I'm down to do Andor versus House of Cards anytime.
Yeah. You don't have to apologize, Christo. You're a little drunk. That's
Okay.
what we usually do here. Yeah.
It's 5 p.m. somewhere.
Yep. So I think we wrap this show up. It kind of went all to hell when PLD left, so we weren't prepared for that.
Yeah,
but hopefully you still had
things get better when Paul leaves, but this time they went to shit.
Yeah. But you got our winner. You got our teaser for next week. So tell us, Matty, where the folks can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner. You can find my band Mourner at mourner.co and on all streaming platforms. Our new song Hope Fell Silent comes out next Wednesday. And you can find me right after this, literally right after this, on the Wild Jones Podcast Network. We're going to do a fight breakdown and we're going to do a fight watch along.
Ooh, nice. Wait, you went on a Fantastic Four recast thingy as well. Was that
yeah.
I haven't seen that episode yet either.
So
where's that on?
It's on the Fancastic 4 YouTube channel. I did What If Christopher Nolan directed the Fantastic Four movies with my buddies Jack Mayer and Dan Bettenhausen. I actually did the theme song for their podcast as well. So that was a cool little thing to be invited on to actually cover that. And yeah, go check that out. It's great. We had a few surprise celebrity guests, which was basically just me doing a Michael Caine impression and Jack doing a absolutely incredible Casey Affleck impression.
Really?
But yeah, you guys should go check that out. It gets pretty nutty.
I definitely
I'd had a few to drink when I was doing it. So
love it. All right. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Richard-Erik with a K Jarvi. And there's nowhere else you can find me. You can find me on Letterboxd. Go follow me on Letterboxd and I'll follow you back. I love to see the little scores, the reviews that people give to movies. And nothing else to do that. Matty, you're going to be the gavel today.
Okay.
Court's been adjourned.
Court's been adjourned. Justice has been served. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
See you later.